Alright boys, how we all doing?
Yeah, good man.
You mate?
Good. We all fit and healthy after pre-season?
A little bit. I've done a lot of drinking over the summer. I wouldn't say I'm fit or healthy, but I'm definitely ready and raring to go.
I've been doing local parks shouting at like kids football teams, but that sounds pretty grim. So let's skip past that. Aye, welcome back everybody. It's the 50th episode. We've got a bit of a belter for you. We've obviously you'll have seen on social medias that we've had an exclusive interview with Joe Savage, which we'll bring you later on. But thought I might as well introduce ourselves again since it's felt like forever since the last time we did a podcast. This is my story podcast, your unofficial Hearts podcast. All of our opinions are our own. Aye, Ando, how have you been? How's your summer been?
Summer's been boring as fuck, really. Probably have to be like the bleep box already, but pardon me, it's been boring. But highlight of the summer happened on Tuesday. I was back up in Scotland in the pub with a couple of you fine gentlemen watching The Famous back at Tynecastle, and that honestly has been the highlight of my summer so far.
I quite enjoyed Sunday, but we'll come to what happened on Sunday in a minute. Brad, how's your summer been?
Well, it sounds like it's been better than Ando's anyway. If meeting us for a pint's been the highlight of his summer.
I said a couple of yous. You weren't on that list, Brad, so shut your face.
No, it's been good, mate. Enjoying the time off. Weather's been class, so can't complain.
You time off, man. You needed that time off, mate.
I played very little golf while working, so this is a perfect opportunity to catch up now.
Chill, man. You need to just back down to zero, mate. You've been 100 miles an hour for at least 7 weeks. Tam, what's been happening?
Not much. I'd like to say I missed podcasting, but it's been a welcome break, having to talk to you guys each week, so it's been lovely.
The feedback we get about you as well in the Twitter mentions.
Thanks,
you took over the reins for the Euros.
First tweet from Corbett. Patter's instantly better was one of the comments. That was great.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks for tweeting the show, Dad. Kev, what's been happening?
Not a great deal. It's been pretty boring over the summer. No podcasting. No seeing you guys on a Tuesday night. It's just been a little bit depressing. Glad to see The Famous back playing in front of fans again.
Yep, we'll come to that later. It was a joyful moment. Shanks, what have you been up to?
Spent the summer trying to learn the words to Do a Deer, but I still didn't ken.
We'll come to that too.
Month 17 working from home. I'm currently in the garage and it's 26 degrees and I'm melting. Apart from that, looking forward to another dismal year.
And the folk that are eagle-eyed viewers will see that asparagus plant or whatever it is behind you is now sprouted. It was just a couple of wee twigs. Now that's a Christmas tree, innit?
That's the Beech Grove. Here we go.
So as always, you can catch us on social media. You can get us on Twitter. Is it this my story pod? What is it?
That's it. Aye.
That's right. You can get us on Instagram. This is my story. 1874. Yep, and then you can get us on the website. Right, Ando, this is your domain. You can do the website. What's the website again?
It's admin@thisismystory.uk.
There you go. Magic. Ando, I'll come to you anyway because you've got some exciting stuff that we've managed to team up with folk and bit about the Predictor League and the Prediction League for the Euros and all that sort of stuff. So what's been happening?
So those of you that were playing will be well aware that we had a Euro 2020 predictor happening on the website. Glad to say that we had quite a solid amount of engagement. There's quite a lot of players actually got involved, including all the show hosts. Hats off to Graham Duthie, who actually won it on 76 points, so very well done.
The big man.
Aye, exactly. Also, big shout out to my missus, who finished 7th in the league, 1 point above me, who was in 8th place. And we're not going to bother talking about anyone else. What?
Yep.
Go and take a strepsil, Tam. I'm in the middle of speaking. But I know that wee gimp Tam finished 2nd on 73, 3 behind Graham. So, well done. We'll be
Who was he copying though? That's what we need to know. Who was he copying? Who was actually geeing him?
I reckon it was probably his missus. She was too. She's like, no, I'm not getting involved with this. This is a crap game. But I'll tell you what to put in. Either that.
Gary Lineker's DMs, man.
Fair enough. Well, we're going to reset that for the coming season. So everyone that listened to the podcast last year will be well aware of just how crap we were at predicting the outcome of Hearts results, and we'll relaunch that for everybody. So everyone that was registered to play in Euro 2020 will just carry over to the new league. We'll put something out on Twitter closer to the start of the league season, encouraging people to register for that. So that will be a fixture throughout next season. We've also teamed up with the guys at Fantasy Football Scotland, so anyone that's into fantasy football, whether you like it or loathe it, doesn't really matter. You've got the opportunity to join the This Is My Story podcast league. They very kindly set us up a public league, so if you download the app, register, and you'll be able to join our league, play along with the show hosts and see how good you are. So that's two things that we've got for fan engagement across the season, so hopefully you get involved and enjoy playing.
There you go, Shanks. There's something for you can do. You can stay at your own team, and then every Saturday you can cheer on your Hibs heroes, like you've been doing all summer. Super John McGinn or whatever. What's your songs you've been singing? You loved him, didn't you, over the summer?
Wimbledon was class.
I tell you what isn't class. International football. Shite. Put it in the bin. Right, let's move on. So Tuesday, not only was it a joyous day to be back inside Tynecastle watching Hearts with other Hearts fans actually there, but
You're saying that like you've been there when Hearts fans haven't been there. You got something to tell us? Okay.
You know my status. You know my status now. My minor celebrity. I get to go where I want.
Media darling.
But it was great to be back. It was great to walk about Gorgie and see pubs open, chippies open, folk walking about, folk got to, all the places that we all took for granted before that have sat idle for 18 months or whatever. It was just great to be wandering about Gorgie for a match day. It was class, and it made it even better as the fact that we knew that we were getting to go in and interview. And let's be honest, he's probably the one guy right now within Hearts that really kind of is unanimously or universally liked at the moment. So obviously we had our interview with Mr. Joe Savage, who was, from my own personal opinion, was absolutely class. He was brand new, got proper stuck in, didn't hide away from any questions, didn't ask us not to ask anything and all that sort of stuff. And some of the stuff that he says, I hope he's absolutely buzz off, because I know that at one point we were buzzing. I was ready to get the shinnies on, man, and get down for the warm up, man. Tam, what was your overall? Obviously, without giving too much away before we dive into it, but how was your opinion, or how was your first impression of Savage?
Just as you pretty much said, to be honest, he was really nice to us, which he could have just tell us the arseholes to fuck off, to be fair, which was good. And just in general, like, the ambition he showed and the way he was chatting, it's going to be good. So check it out when it obviously comes up later in this episode.
What a way to ruin it, Tam. Ando, what was your thoughts on it?
So I really liked it. I thought he was a really genuine guy. I was really impressed with everything that he had to say. His enthusiasm for the club. Obviously, he's from the West Coast. No one's going to kid you on and say he's a Hearts fan, but his enthusiasm is absolutely, it's almost infectious to a point. And I've got absolute confidence in him and his vision, because I think he spoke really, really well. Also, one thing I'd note, he's quite a fearsome character. Because I tell you what, right? See, if there was pints on that table, you would just think, if you said the wrong thing, at any minute he is wiping out all the 8 pints and he's coming across that table to batter fuck at you. So he's quite fearsome in a way, and I quite like that.
I like that too. He was bullish, and he had a bit of swagger about him. Something that we've missed for ages and ages. So obviously that's coming up later. So we'll dive into that. This episode. Oh no, I'll just say that to episode, but it is what it is. Our 50th episode. We'll spend this time we'll go over some headlines. We'll talk about Cove Rangers and Peterhead, the two competitive matches that we've played so far. Talk about kind of what's coming up for the season in terms of the podcast, live podcasts, what we've got planned, after-match reactions, more interviews with sort of players and staff and all that sort of stuff as well. We'll touch on a bit that you'll have all seen now that we have ownership of the ZAL flag. You'll have seen it. If not, check out the social medias. It's an absolute beaut. We'll obviously talk about that, talk about the money in MND Scotland and all that sort of stuff. So first we'll start with the headlines. Shanks, you want to model this season's third kit? There we go.
Good job.
Would it be right to say it's divided opinion, or am I still the only one that thinks it's minging?
So I'll back you up and say I'm not a fan, because for them to come out for Hearts to come out and say, "Oh, this is a nod to the famous interstrip," no, it's not. Sod off. You've got it way wrong. It's not navy blue and black. The colour, it needs to be light blue. They've missed the mark. I see what they've tried to do, and I know a lot of people love it. I think probably half the folk in Tynecastle on Tuesday were wearing it. So you know what, from a marketing point of view, absolutely fantastic. Personally, I'm not on board.
Right, that's our argument. Shanks, you've got it. Brad, you love it. Talk us through why you love it.
Pros and cons.
Let's go.
Wee bit different, bit gold. It doesn't feel like you're too old to wear it, because it's no like the one that Ando's plumped for there in the corner. He's far too old for that. You can kind of get away with wearing it up little. I don't know what they've done, but they've done it like an Italy rugby top, and it's clearly too small for the average gentleman. So, boys, if you end up getting a double XL, it's totally cool, because everyone I've spoke to has had to do that.
Is this a shoulder factor or massive cheb factor?
All encompassing, really.
Fair enough.
Aye, I like it, man. It's nice. It's a wee bit different.
To be fair,
but it's
I've
nothing to do with the homage thing. I think that's what's killed it for most folk. Should have just released it as they would have done, and it would have been done all right.
That's where I was going with that. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's, for a third kit, it's alright. It was never going to be as good as the black one, but it's the fact that they're in the video and all that as well. They've got the picture of the top that it absolutely is nothing like, other than it's got stripes, and said it's a nod to this. It's like, alright, okay, but never mind. Home kit, as we can see behind you, Ando, is a beaut, to be honest with you. I thought it was a bit of a slow burner on some of us, but having seen it in the flesh, I think it's an absolute belter at top. I like it. I really like it.
I like the design of it. I do have problems with the fitting of it though. So the arms, and yes, I know everyone's put on lockdown weight, and these chebs they're looking pretty healthy, but it's not the titties that do it for me. It's the actually, that's a separate conversation. We'll circle back to that. But it's the arms that I have the problem with. As you can see, I'm not a particularly muscly fell, but it's almost like they're far too tight. It's far too tight in the arms. So I had it on the day it arrived, and I was making something in the kitchen, and before I knew it, the sleeves are way up here, like way up under my armpits.
Guns it.
There's no guns there, man.
The missus with the
Pea
guns.
shooters. Pea shooters.
We might as well touch on it as well. It's something that we're trying to encourage everybody to do, and we're still trying or waiting to hear back from Hearts as to see if there's any movement on it. But we've said about the club and Craig Halkett, massive respect to him as well for saying that he was happy to give up the number 26 for the season in honour of Zal. Again, you'll have seen on social media, it's something that we've reached out to see that if we can get some form of, if you get your name or a name and get number 26 on the back, the club is exploring the possibilities of being able to donate some more money to MND Scotland for everyone that gets sort of number 26 and a name. So fair play to the club. Again, we would just echo you, if you're going to buy it and you're that way inclined, you want to get a name on the back of it, get Zal or get your own name, but get number 26. And we might not have 26 on the park, but it'd be amazing to see the stands fully 26. He's in honour of the big man. So fair play, Ando, well done.
No problem. Someone had to do it first.
Aye, and it's always you.
It is, because, and you know what? I've done that sober. Normally I have to get caned or hammered or whatever to go and buy Hearts merchandise, but I've done this one completely sober.
Luckily, you're drinking a very civilised drink tonight. If you want to show the viewers,
I didn't want to have to do this, But I've kept
you
it off
did.
camera on purpose. Which is why you just see me reach across to try and fill it up without anyone actually seeing it. But
Putting in a glass is very civilised to be
well,
That
it
is
is.
very simple.
Well, I knew I was podding the night, so when I was up on Tuesday, I did. It's one of these things that I completely forgot existed until I was having a conversation with Tam in the pub, and then obviously a couple of little cheeky of these numbers right here.
An hour with Joe Savage for the West, and that's you back on.
That's how he's on the
West.
tonic. That's him on
on
the tonic.
on the tonic. You know what? Say what you like about it. I grew up with this stuff, and you know what? I'm not a wage. I'm still a
Well,
civilized.
question appearing in there, surely.
Civilized.
I'm
was
still
only
a
half
civilized
5
human
foot
being.
6.
Exactly. Aye. Then saying that, I remember like when I was probably too young to get away with it, taking a bottle of that home, falling the back door, absolutely steaming. Oh, but like, what you been on? Was that this? And he took it, poured it into a glass, threw a couple of ice cubes in it, and then went back through to the living room to watch the rest of the match of the day. He was partial to it, so there you go. It's his fault.
There's a walk down memory lane with Ando. A new
There we
feature
go.
that we were going to announce later.
We could call that a walk down Buckfast alley.
That's
And,
true. We
some-
parked cars at Bucky Alley the other day, didn't we?
Some listeners to this will know, going back about 10 or 15 years, exactly what that means. But that's one for an after show special.
So, obviously, as we talk now, and Joe Savage touches on it a little bit in the interview that's just coming up in a wee second. Obviously, every Hearts fan will have noticed a marked difference in terms of transfer strategy this season. As we stand right now, we've signed 2 players. There's no leaks. There's no news of new players coming in, which is the new strategy of the football club. You know, they want quality, not quantity. And again, as we've said hundreds of times on this podcast, you know, we've signed 98 players in 7 years. We were buzzing to hear Joe Savage's plans in terms of recruitment and all that sort of stuff as well. But we have signed 2. We've got Josh Ginnelly. It's now a Jambo. I loved the video of him Tuesday. There was like 2 out. That was the best start to a Heart song ever. That was it was literally like Ur Willie or something at the back of the stand trying to hurts, and everyone was like, "What the hell was that, man?"
I thought it was Tam.
Everybody joined in, and it was class. But the video of Josh Ginnelly sitting on the bench listening to 2000 Jambo singing the Heart song was one of those moments that you, like we said before, you take for granted. It wasn't until you're there you think, I've missed this, man. I've missed this bit about Hearts, 100%. So, happy with Ginnelly?
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
Aye, my constant tweeting up the road shagger, it worked. He is back.
The bizarre
up the
thing
road.
is, he was actually up the road anyway. So, because he was doing his recovery at Tynecastle or at Orium. So,
I warned you about being pedantic. I said, don't be pedantic. Nonsense. Everybody knows where he was living. Let's move on.
Was
Let's
it
move
also
on.
was there 2,000 fans there at the weekend, or was it 500?
It was in
Win.
Peterhead.
There was 230
And I was-
something there.
And I was talking about Tuesday at Tynecastle when there was 2,000.
And
But welcome back,
Nothing
Shanks.
has changed.
Thanks for contributing, Shanks. Thanks for that, mate.
Shanks,
Yeah,
do you need a longer summer break than the rest of us? Do you, like,
Funnily
Well-
enough, I've had quite a busy home life. it's not really been relaxing, unlike Bradley's. So we'll move on.
Aye, but it's great. His numbers speak for themselves. Last year, you know, they scoring goals. You even seen it. I know Brad, you've been getting battered for it or whatever. No, it was Cove Rangers and it was Peterhead or whatever. But he has looked like he's been in first gear, and he can still go by whoever he needs to get to the byline, cutting in, putting in crosses, playing passes, etc. It just gives us something totally and utterly different, which has been dead. Like, we've needed it for ages and ages. So if he can stay fit, I ken that winds him up because he reacts to that on Twitter all the time. But when he's been at Hearts, he's picked up 2 or 3 injuries. So if we can keep him fit, he's going to could potentially be player of this season material for us, which is good. Then the other guy that's came in is the young, is it Alec Cochrane?
Mhm.
He's come up from Brighton on loan. Left side, can play wing back, can play at left back as well. again, we did a review of the game on Tuesday. I thought, and it was no reflection, he wasn't bad, he didn't have a bad game or whatever, but he was probably the one that, for me, looked maybe wasn't quite up to the pace of the game in terms of how it went. It was maybe a bit shocked at how physical it was in terms of winning headers, and positioning was a bit suspect sometimes, but as soon as he moved, kind of just being like the wing back, I thought he grew into the game and was better. I don't think he can play. I wouldn't be playing him left side of the back three or whatever. I don't think he's strong enough. Overall thoughts on Cox and Brads? What did you think of him Tuesday?
Well, me and you kind of sat together at the football, so we spoke about it, and it was much agreed. I thought he did look like there's loads of ambition to get down that wing, which is perfect, because it becomes too predictable if we keep going with Smith all the time. So having the two options, it's really good. Draw these players out wide. That's where the first goal came from. Down to him, into Gino, back to Halliday, Bush, goal. And you know what? That's what we've needed, a wee bit of width and a wee bit of stretching it out. So I'm looking forward to seeing him again. I think he needs a wee bit of game time under his belt, and he'll be smashing.
Yep, I agree. That was pretty decent. We might as well talk about it since we were there anyway. But it was just great to be back inside the stadium on Tuesday, wasn't it? It was even though there was only 2,000, and I know some people. I got that feeling that people didn't really know the rules, like in terms of. As soon as somebody started singing the Heart song, literally everybody was singing it. Do you know what I mean? So it felt to me like everybody was just sitting on edge, waiting for like, no, you do it first. No, you do it first, and then because it was no one knows the rules. You know, did you have to have your mask on? Were you allowed to stand up? Were you allowed to move about? All that sort of stuff. But it was great, and you could see that it made a difference to the players. Like they've been playing in empty stadiums for a year now. It's going to be a huge asset for us, isn't it?
100%, definitely.
And then the good news coming at the club today as well is that we've smashed through the 10,000 season ticket barrier as well. Again, I'll say it and I'll continue to say it, that we're unrivaled when it comes to backing the football club. We did it last year. We've done it over the years with the Foundation of Hearts. See it. The club see it regardless of what happens on the park. The fans always step up. So fair play to absolutely every single person that's done it. Well done. Hopefully we can get more than 2,000 in to games, because we could do something decent when Tynecastle's bouncing. That's just my opinion on it all. Anybody else want to say anything about Tuesday in terms of the fans being back?
Do you think us having this gap's going to change the mentality of Hearts fans now? Do you think we should be taking this for granted, and the Boo Boys for certain should be like kind of reevaluating things, and will it be more cheery, more songy when we go back? I hope so.
Well, my hope is that the club have got a part to play in that as well. The club have to be doing things to get the atmosphere back to what it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get it. We live in COVID times and all that, fine, but I didn't want to see stewards berating people to wear a mask, chasing people to sit down, or like just let it be natural. Like, people are sensible enough now; they know how to live in it. Just let it be a football stadium. Let it have some atmosphere. If we're going to knuckle down on being pure arsey about who's sanitised their hands after a piss, it's just going to add to the already growing dissatisfaction that you get sometimes at Tynecastle. My hope is what you just said there, Brads, is that folk have been stuck in the house for a year, 2 years almost. They're going to get to Tynecastle and they're just going to be buzzing to be there, and they're just going to get singing, get behind the team. And the players have got a responsibility as well to make sure that they do something that gets the fans engaged. Do you know what I mean? I think we said it to Joe Savage on Tuesday, is that we've got a huge opportunity. If the club play it right, we could really get a great atmosphere, and when the club's at its best, when the fans in the club are united, that's when we're at our strongest. So we need to be like that.
Agreed.
Totally.
Cool. Right. Now seems like a good time. Let's jump in. We've spoke about it all night. Well, obviously Tuesday night we're at Tynecastle. We managed to get a sit down and a nice chat with Joe Savage, who is absolutely class. So I hope you enjoy it. Over to me.
Cool. Well, as you've seen on social media and all that sort of stuff, we've said over the past wee while that we had our 50th podcast coming up, and we wanted to get a special guest. We reached out to Harry. He said no, so we'll have to suffer with Mr. Joe Savage. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. That's a good introduction, to be fair. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Nah, genuinely. Thanks a lot for talking to us. We appreciate it. When you look on social media and all that sort of stuff, it's the sort of number one thing is everybody seems to be pretty genuinely impressed with the cut your jib, the way you've went about since coming in. So it's a good place to start as any, is how we are right now. You've been with the guys through pre-season and all that sort of stuff. How are you feeling? We're here Tuesday, glorious day, Tynecastle. We're going to have fans in the stadium tonight. How are you feeling for the season and your sort of work that's went on in the past and so far anyway?
I think we'll start with pre-season. I think pre-season's been good. The boys have been back, great condition, really fit. Coaching staff have been really happy with them. I was pleased with, for me personally, I was pleased with how the season finished. The 5 games, we kept 5 clean sheets.
Bit of momentum.
Yeah, I thought we played well. I thought Robbie found a good formation in the 3-4-3, 3-5-2. And we've kind of carried that on with the form this sort of pre-season. The guys have been good. The games have been good, to be fair. We've looked good. We've looked dangerous. We obviously played tonight. We played Saturday. I don't know if you've watched the game, but
yep.
I would say we were comfortable. I think they were physical and they tried to be aggressive with us, but we ended up managing the game really well. Probably should have scored a couple more goals, but it was good. It was one of the ones where I was speaking to Robbie after the game. It's 3 points, it's a clean sheet, no injuries down the road. So I've been happy, but it's early, isn't it? It's an early start. We're 2 games. I mean, we're second game in, and half the teams in England, things like that, not even started back yet.
Yeah, true. And then again, it's just what's been the biggest difference from sort of, because if you rewind to last year, the sort of pre-season and COVID was sort of the height of COVID and all that sort of stuff we're trying. What's been the biggest sort of difference you've seen in terms of the way the guys are able to interact with each other and all that?
I think it's still quite. It was still the same, to be honest with you. That we've got head of performance Bob McCunn, who we've got everything organised. The guys can't really be together too often in terms of the social distancing and things like that. They need to wear masks, so that is still the same. And I think that's difficult for the players, that they can't really bond as much, because we went down to Largs for a training camp and they all had single rooms to stay in, because they can't really be. And I know we've only got Alex Cochrane, who you could really say is a new signing. He's settled in well, but he's not really been able to get the real bond of the sharing a room with someone and finding out. But I think everyone's in the same boat, isn't they? Everyone's in the same position, so we just need to get on with it and deal with it, and we're dealing with it as best we can.
Do you think it's been a sort of underappreciated part of it? Because obviously for fans, we just see what happens Saturday between 3 and 5 or whatever, but do you think that's something that's maybe something that's not considered when you think about just how difficult it is for guys like young Cochrane coming up and Gianelli and all that? They're maybe having to live in a flat by themselves. They kind of meet with wives of the players and socialise and all that. It must be a difficult time.
It's a massive point. It's a great point, because it is very difficult for them. It is very difficult that they can't socialise. They can't just say, come right to my bit and we'll play FIFA or whatever it may be, or let's go for
a meal or something.
Go to the cinema. They can't do that. So Alex and Josh and these boys, and Jordan Roberts as well, it was the same for him last season. They come up here and they're almost just put in a flat and says, stay there, see you in the morning, and then it's sleep, eat, repeat. They do that, and then I think it's hopefully we're starting to come out the other side of it, but it's still difficult. I think there's a good group here. I think the players are good. I think they're welcoming towards the players. I think Alex is repeating myself, but he's settled in well. But it's always going to be the case, isn't it, that they're moving up here and they don't know anyone, and there's only so much you can do for them. But once they go home at 3, 4, 5 o'clock, they shut that door. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know how they're feeling.
Yeah.
And one of my favourite sayings in football is, especially when I'm signing players, is you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You don't know how that person is. You don't know how he's feeling. You don't know if his mum's okay, if his dad's okay, if any family member's okay, or he's okay. So there's a lot to take with football players' move. There's definitely.
And that's a hard enough thing in normal circumstances. Do you know what I mean? When you've got COVID, it's even harder. And then again, another thing I think that is underappreciated is tonight we're going to have 2,000 fans in Tynecastle. It'll feel like 200,000 to especially to us, it's been nearly 2 years or something since we stepped foot in here to watch Hearts competitively. You'll know yourself, we're sitting around here, it's adorned with people that we love. Mm-hmm. This is the biggest selling point for players signing for Hearts is Tynecastle. It's an absolute asset to us, and to have it empty, and the fact that the players are trying their best to create a team spirit, but then on a Saturday they're out and it's an empty stadium. This is going to take things up a notch for them, innit? They're going to be buzzing to get out there the night, I'd imagine.
Absolutely. I think we as staff, we're absolutely buzzing. We can't wait. I know it's only 2000 and know that this place can hold a lot more than that, and it can be bouncing at times. But the players are really excited as well. And one of the things that we do when we're trying to sign new players and try to recruit is we've got a recruitment video.
Right, nice.
And we've got like the place when it is bouncing, when the fans are in their thousands and they're supporting and they're chanting and they're believing in the club. And that's when you put that to the agents and you put that to the players, you can see when you're speaking to them, they tell you, like, wow, I can't wait to this place is full. I can't wait to play here in a full house against the Hibs, against the Rangers, against the Celtic. Yep. These are the games that they all want to play in. Right. So even tonight, 2,000 fans, Cove Rangers, the guys are absolutely buzzing.
And again, we've seen it loads last season as well, where it's dead difficult to navigate games against teams that we would say are lesser teams. They come, it's a cup final to them. When there's no one in the stands, normally, you maybe you're playing air and they're stuffy, they're hard to break down, but then the crowd gets the players going, it gives them that little extra bit, that spark or whatever, and that was like, we're going to have that again now. Do you know what I mean? There's natural lulls. You listen to anybody talk about that plays the game, it's hard for it not to dip into that pre-season friendly mode, even when it's a competitive game. As hard as you try it, there's no singing, there's no chanting, there's no reaction other than the players. Yeah. So I think it's going to make a huge difference tonight, and we're all buzzing. Yeah, I think it's a massive draw, isn't it? Just having this stadium and having the fans here, as you say, it's a great location, it's a beautiful city. Everyone, when they come here, you can see, like we're going to speak about it probably, but I've got my new head of recruitment here tonight, and I've got my lead recruitment analyst. So it's the first game that they're going to see with the fans here, and we walked in earlier on, and you could see the two of them just thinking, wow, look at this is some place. And obviously the weather's beautiful today as well. So doesn't always look like this. Yeah, we're fortunate, but that's a great place to play and a great place to work. Let's be honest, and that's what we are pushing to the players that we're trying to sign and pushing to the current players. And you've almost got like I don't want to say a clean slate, that's maybe not the right word, but folk have been stuck in their house for 2 years. They'd come and watch me play keepy uppies out there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're going to be desperate to come to Tynecastle just to be here, because when we started this podcast, we just did it as a laugh, but we didn't realise the massive impact it has on people's life. We've ended up working with big hearts in the community. We do the Talk of the Toon chats, and it's just people that miss coming to football. The whole, you forget, or you take it for granted how much your life revolves around a football club, and you'll see it here. Well, absolutely. And just on that quickly, we had when we won the league, the night we won the league, the staff asked for a staff game on the pitch, and they were absolutely buzzing. They couldn't believe it. They played some of the players on the pitch, and it was like, let's say, Bob McCunn, the head of performance, he's a Hearts fan, and the other staff, Mad Dog, his name's Craig Maitland, but they call him Mad Dog. He's as far away from being a Mad Dog as you could possibly get, but they call him Mad Dog for that reason. And Big Mike in the sports, they absolutely, they were buzzing. They were so happy. We were watching it in the stand, and you could see what it meant to them as members of staff who'd grew up Hearts fans. So imagine what it'd be like when we have all these the fans back in. I know. Hopefully it's happening sooner rather than later as well. You touched on it there. We'll talk there. Where are we in terms of recruitment? Obviously, you've come in, you've made a lot of changes and stuff like that. Are you happy with the changes you've made? Is there more to come, or what's your vision in terms of recruitment for the football club going forward? Yeah, first and foremost, I'm absolutely delighted. The club's backed me, the club's allowed me to make the changes, and I had a conversation with Anne where I said to Anne, look, if you're going to sack me in a year's time, because I've not done that well, I want to be able to look you in the eye and say, I've done everything I can for this club. You've given me everything I've asked for, and if it's not worked, I want to be able to shake your hand and say, I'm sorry, it's failed. And she's been brilliant. Andrew, the chief executive, has been brilliant. Jackie, the finance director, they've really supported me and said, right, what do you need? Go and get it. So I've managed to get William Lansfield from Southampton. I'd previously worked with him at Norwich City. I thought he was special when I first met him, and I thought, this boy's got a real talent, a real eye for a player.
very knowledgeable, very analytical, which is what I needed. So I'm delighted it was my number one target. As soon as John had said that he was going to be retiring, I thought, okay, I'm going to approach Will. Managed to get Will, but before that, I managed to get George Brown in as the lead recruitment analyst.
Right, okay.
George is a very, very, very clever man. The data and the statistics, I don't think the club had done enough of it over the past few years. Now, you won't find me criticising the recruitment department because I'm not that type. I know how hard recruitment is, but I've been really pleased to get both of them on board. And obviously, George has been in since May. Will's only just started yesterday, but I think that I'm going to build a good recruitment department here, and I'll have no excuses if it fails.
And that, to be honest, I think that's, you just have to go onto the Hearts Twitter world and you'll see that that's the one thing that I think most people have been most excited about is, yeah, these transfer windows are always the same. Oh, sign this guy, sign that guy, sign this guy. But Hearts, for the past little while, they've been, you know the stats yourself, it's nearly 98 players signed in a 7-year period. Very little transfer money in youth development and all that sort of stuff. It's difficult to balance because we haven't performed where we wanted to. You'll know that. We've not been where we need to be for a while. And with that comes, like you said, people that are desperate to do good at their job. They started like, oh, he's a great sign, bring him in, and for whatever reason, it doesn't work. So is that what we're seeing now? Because it does feel like it's a lot more strategic in terms of who we bring in. It's got to be the right position, right player, and add quality.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's quality over quantity. Absolutely, every day of the week. Every conversation I've had with Robbie since I started in January was we had to build the recruitment department, we had to make it better, and we feel we've done that. There's still things that we can do to improve, but we know what we want, and we won't just sign anyone. We won't just go and bring a player in for the sake of it. I know that's not what the fans want to hear, but we're close with a couple of things just now. I've made sure that we don't have leaks. I don't want, because I think the way it works, and certainly when my time in England, that if you're good, and I think I'm good at my job, I think the people I employ are good at their jobs, and I think that sometimes if people are leaking things, other clubs, you're doing their scouting for other clubs.
Yeah,
I don't know how many times I lost a player when I was at Preston and Norwich when another club went, Preston, they're looking at him. Well, we may have a look at him, and he could pay more money. And it really annoys me. So I've made sure that there's a select few that know what we're trying to do in terms of recruitment, and that's the way it will stay. That's how. And again, I can promise you guys, we're well down the line with one or two things that if we can pull them off, we'll be absolutely delighted with. But you'll not hear me naming any names or anything like that.
And to be honest, that's something as well that's been picked up. That's not noticed, if you know what I mean. People have noticed that there's barely any leaks. There's nothing until it's like the Claxon signing. By the way, we've brought someone in, which good. Just to circle back to what you said there, I think Hearts fans, that's exactly what Hearts fans want to hear in the situation that we're in now. Part of the frustrations from your last season, in my opinion, is that group of players was more than capable of performing better. You know, so for me, I think the squad we have now on paper with Robbie, the way Robbie wants to play, the style and all that sort of stuff, I think that there should be no excuses to do better with those players. And I think there's maybe one or two. Every club would say, oh, I'll sign them, or I would love someone here. But I think the nucleus of the squad is more than good enough. You know, there's 6 or 7 internationalists right through the spine of the team. So I think Hearts fans will be buzzing to hear that it's more about the right person and actually, that being the case, if you know what I mean. It's not just a scattergun recruitment policy. It's crucial.
It's crucial that if you're doing your recruitment, you do it quietly, you do it professionally, and you get the deals done. It's good. It's easy to talk. Talk's cheap. You want to sign this player, what to sign. Like the 4 of us in here just now could probably sit and identify 5 players right now that we think could improve Hearts, improve this team. But the difficulty you've got is identification's easy. Try to get them's the hard part. Try to get the deals done. Try to negotiate with the clubs. Try to negotiate with the player, and try to negotiate with the agent. You have to get all 3 right. And it's not always the case. Sometimes he wants this, or he wants that, or they want this, and you have to manage it within your structure, within your, I wouldn't say we've got a salary cap, but we understand what we can pay and we won't go above that. And I'm the type that I believe in myself, I believe in my staff, that if player X's demands are too much, but he's a good player, player X will be told, jog on, off you pop, we'll find somebody else, we'll get somebody else, and we're more than happy to go and move on. I'll not be held to ransom here by any player that you look at this club, you look at the stats, you look at the size, you look at the fan base. Why would you not want to play for this club? And I know I'm preaching to you three because you are Hearts fans, but I firmly believe that the selling point, I shouldn't need to sell this club to anybody. I should just need to show them a picture of the stadium and show them a video, a game when there's 20,000 fans in here going mental because we've just beat Hibs.
Stop getting me G'd up, man. This is pure fighting talk, man. Get the game going now, man.
But that's how I feel about it. I really believe that we can build something special here, but talk's cheap. It's
well, like I said, they're all the things that we've heard, but they're the things that you want to hear. Do you know what I mean? They're the things that we can see in the background and all that sort of stuff as well. So, we're buzzing for that. So, what's your expectations for the football club this season? Where do you want to see us progress? What areas? What's your sort of bottom line requirement? This is what needs to happen.
Yeah, I think I can answer that in two ways. Like personally, I'm a winner. I'm desperate to win. I want to win the league. Mm-hmm. So are we going to win the league? Probably not this year. But I know how Robbie and I know how his coaches work, that the aim's to be the best we can be. We want to be extremely competitive. We want to come up here and show people we're a good team with good players. So the expectations for us, I think, I'm not going to sit here and say we want top three, we want to win cups, because I think that would be remiss of me. I think that's, I don't think I should say that. I don't think it's right that I go out and make a statement like that straight away. So I think we want to be competitive, we want to do well, we want to go far in the cups. The cups didn't end well for us last season, let's be honest. We're all aware of that. I wasn't here when we get beat off Alloa, but I was certainly here for the Broder game. So we want to do better in the cups, and we want teams coming to Tynecastle and fearing us and thinking, oh, here we go, what a game this is going to be. They're going to be right up for it and right at it against us, and that's, if we can do that, I think we'll be a dangerous side. So that's the plan. It's to be a very dangerous side that beats the Celtics and the Rangers and the Hibs when they come here. But also, I'm aware...
That last one's a given. We beat Hibs, so
but
I know you can't say that, so it's fine.
Yeah, but I'm aware that some of your form against some other teams away from home is good, so we obviously have to try and see if we can make that better. But it's easy for me to sit here and say that. I'm not the coach, I'm not the manager, and I won't put that pressure on Robbie. At the end of the day, the players win your football matches.
Well, I think from my personal point of view, when you looked at, if you circle back to the League Cup last year, we bled young guys with fringe players, so to speak, or whatever, and we got the job done. I think, in my opinion, it was a bit of a statement from Robbie that the lineup for Saturday was as strong as what it was, because I think the momentum we had at the end of the season, the noise that's still here, there's no point kidding on that it's not. You know, there's expectations at Hearts, and losing to Alloa, losing to Broder Rangers, that's always going to be there, and it'll have to take something to blast through it. But when I was sitting 2 o'clock on Saturday thinking to myself, I was thinking, please don't just play, the fringe guys or whatever, and give yourself that upward task. If something goes, these are difficult games to navigate. If this ends up a draw, we're going to end up with the nonsense that we had last season and that as well. So I think, like you said, it's not lost on us that there's expectations now. We're in the top flight. We need to start.
And honestly, Liam, it's not lost on the coaches either. It's not lost on Robbie. Like, we had many conversations after the Broder game, Robbie and I says to him, how are you feeling? And he's like, Joe, this is what happens when you work at a big club. You can beat a game like that, the fans are on you. It's up to me to win games, it's up to me to get them back on board. So he's well aware that wasn't a good result and it wasn't what he wanted to do, but the pressure is always on, and I've certainly found that since I've came to Hearts, that it's a massive club. The expectations here are huge, and Robbie's well aware of he needs to win games, but he'll tell you that himself.
No, I've heard him. He's been up in goal a couple of times. He's been on the radio. You read his things. I know that it's not lost on me. He's been here long enough. Yeah. He knows the club inside out, and it's those things that you kind of feel sorry for him in a sense that it's already hard enough. The opening 5 games are already hard enough on paper, but you know how with the noise and the expectation and stuff, it's going to be really tough. So you just got to hope that we hit the ground running and that the players understand that this is Hearts, like you said, what you've just said there exactly. And I think that as a fan base, that's what something's maybe been missing for a bit, is that arrogance and bullishness of being like, I get why clubs say it, but Hearts aren't a top 6 side. Falling out of the top 6 should never have happened to Hearts. anything out of fourth is one of those, well, now we're going to have to start talking about like how did we win the cups, how did we win the derbies, how did we do against the Old Firm, and then start to justify that, because our history, it won't be lost on you. If we lose, if we don't finish top 3 or top 4 this season, it becomes the standalone second worst run in the club's history.
Right, okay.
You know, there are things that Hearts fans say we're the third biggest club in Scotland, not because we feel it. We are the third biggest club in Scotland, and we need that swagger to come with us. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I hope this season we see on the park. We see from the players as puff their chest out. This is Tynecastle. Yeah. We're not going to lose to. Well, it's been 2 years since we beat Hamilton, man. I'm sick of it. Like,
and they're not even in the league.
Do you know what I mean? I'm going to have to go 5 years before we beat them. But that's what I'm saying at the start about the opportunity with the crowd's been back in, bit of positivity around the place, and this place is, you know yourself, this is their biggest asset. It's when the club and fans are united, it's look behind us, Gary Locke and Stevie Fulton's lifting the Scottish Cup. When we're united, there is only 2 clubs in Scotland really that are probably bigger and better than us, and that's the Old Firm. So here's hoping that's good as well. Well, let's go through what's so far your journey here. What's been your highlight? What's been your most favourite thing that's happened?
Least favourite's the Brora game, isn't it? That was when I kind of realised, wow, this club's massive. The protests and things like that, because we're obviously comfortably clear at the top of the league, but we have to be winning games like that in the Scottish Cup. So that was the least, and it was a moment that I think everybody kind of stepped up and says, right, okay, that doesn't happen again. We have to make sure under our watch that doesn't happen again. And again, I'm not going to give any guarantees because you can't do that in football, but we will try our hardest. Personally, I was hoping for Brora in the cup. I wanted them in this group because I would have
right or wrong.
I would have put my mortgage on. I'm not a betting man, but I would have put my mortgage on as putting them to bed. Absolutely, but we'll get our chance. I think eventually, further down the line, something like that will come up again, and we will right the wrong of that. I don't think there's any doubt. And again, that is bullish talk, but that was, you play that game 99 times out of 100. We won that game. We created so many chances in the game. We should have won the game. They had 3 attacks, scored 2 goals. You could analyse the goals, and we don't want to do that, but we should have done better with the goals. But that was a bad night. In terms of the more positive sort of things, obviously the night winning the league, I was actually at the Motherwell game, watching Motherwell versus St Mirren, watching Jordan Roberts, and Jordan actually got injured that day, but then obviously the announcement came through that Dundee and Raith had drew, so that meant we won the league. So that was a nice feeling. It was brilliant, to be fair. In terms of performances, I thought we were very good against Inverness the last day of the season. They were the second last game, and then I thought Raith Rovers as well. The game that Big Armand Nondelay started, came off the bench, scored twice. I thought we really put on a good performance that night. Out with performance-wise, I think the staff, really enjoyed working with the staff all over the stadium. The people that made me feel really comfortable, really welcome. I've really enjoyed that. That's been good. I love Edinburgh as a city. I've always loved Edinburgh. I'm from through the west, but it's my favourite city. It's my favourite city to come and visit. I love going in the dungeon tours and going to see the castle and things like that. So I've been really happy. I can't sit here and point out the one defining moment. It's been a good journey, but I've only been here 7 months. So hopefully I've got plenty more experiences to have.
And like you said, I just want the players and you guys and myself to experience what it's like being back here. Like, do you know what I mean? Because that's where you get that arrogance from as a Hearts player. Like, everybody that signed for Hearts knows in Scotland we're a big team. They know that. But when you walk out, that stadium's full. You go to St Mirren and there's 4,000 Hearts fans there. You go to Livingston, there's 7,000. That's when you puff the chest out and go, aye, this is proper stuff here. And that's been missing now for like 2 years. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, were you here for the Hibs semi-final? Were you were you in transit then?
I wasn't here. I watched the cup final. The cup final I'd obviously been announced, but I wasn't part of the staff of that by that point. So, and we should have won the final, to be fair.
Yeah, we played very well in the final. We did play very well, and I think that's, you mentioned it there. I think that's where most of the frustrations from last season sort of boil over, is the fact that on our day, Dundee here, first game of the season, battered.
Yeah.
They got 2 goals, which that flattered them. It should have been and could have been more than 6. And then, Hibs, all right, we're a bit ropey for a while. Formation change, we get a foothold in the game and do what we do, which is beat them. And then Celtic too, and everybody had this expectation of Celtic.
Attention please, contact the control room.
This is brilliant. Wow. Sorry.
And then the Celtic performance as well. Like I thought, first half, nerves, the occasion. Celtic are a good team. I know that they were rubbish last season and they struggled and all that, but they still get world class players all over the park.
Top side.
Do you remember they're turning down £12 million for Ayer, they want 20 and all that. That's next level. That shouldn't be lost on anybody, that how good a side they can be when they perform. And then but
you don't win the amount of trophies that they've won if they're not a good side.
Exactly.
They've won the league the last 9 years in a row before, obviously, last season. So
and then it gets to penalties, and it is what it is. Boyce is off injured. Janelli's injured. Walker's injured. Halliday's off. All the guys that would have probably taken penalties, you're looking and like what England were like the other night. You're asking folk that are maybe not wanting to take one, and the pressure and all that. So that, as much as that was a total disappointment, that was one of my sort of highlights. That was the thing where you look at it and think, well, we've got potential here to be proper top side if we want to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was hard. Cool. So you'd mentioned there earlier a couple of the guys that you've brought in there as well. You're pretty excited about the changes at the ladies team as well, aren't we?
Delighted. Honestly, I'm absolutely over the moon with we received a high volume of top applications. To be fair, we ended up interviewing 5 for the job, and I'm not just saying this. They were all very, very good. Eva, who was appointed, she stood out because her passion and just her career to date and what she'd done before, and how the presentation that she'd done and how she wanted the team to play, and the work that she'd done on the team and the games that she'd how she found the footage and clipped it up, I'll never know. Because it's not, let's be honest guys, there's no great footage of the Scottish women's game out there, especially if you're living in Barcelona. But she managed to find it, she managed to clip it up, she managed to start, tell us what she would have done in this circumstance, that circumstance, and we were just blown away. We were absolutely blown away, and I think that she's going to be a real interesting appointment, but a really, really good one. I think that her ideas and how she wants to play, she wants to dominate the ball. She's told us that she wants possession of the ball. She wants ball. That's what she said. But Eva should be I'm hoping a fantastic appointment. I'm really, really hoping. I'm really, really pleased to have got her in.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things, we've been lucky enough to have guys from the ladies team on the podcast and all that as well. And I know it's a part of the football club that we're trying to modernise and bring up, because it's an industry that is only going to go forward. It's on the rise, it's on the popularity and all that sort of stuff. Finally, I can see him over your shoulder there. You've got Mr. Lockhold in the Scottish Cup, the biggest gadget ever to play for Hearts, but an actual top man, and a product of the youth academy. I think that's one of the things that Hearts fans always look for in the first team, is young guys that are Hearts fans that are coming through, because it's like they're almost like the living embodiment of us. They're living our dreams and all that, and it's something that I know that's been heavily spoken about last season in terms of Andy Irving aside or whatever. There was very little in terms of the academy prospects coming through. How does that look for this season come forward, and what's the sort of clubs or your own personal vision of how you would like to utilise the academy?
Personally, I've been really pleased with the academy. I've been really pleased with what I've seen. I watched a lot of the games last season. We managed to sign 7 on new contracts. We lost a very good player in Greg Allen to Rangers. We're really, really disappointed to lose Greg. I think he's got potential to be a top player, but again, developed by this academy for 7 years. So the academy has to take credit for that. They have to look at themselves and say, right, okay, we can continue to do that, because Rangers had to buy him from us, they had to pay money, which tells you, I think, where we're at the moment in terms of what we're producing in the academy. We've got some good players coming through. There's no doubt. Like, you've seen Finlay Pollock, who'll be involved tonight. He's been really, really good, but we've been really pleased. And I think that coming through, we've got good coaches that are developing them and coaching them. And we brought in John McLaughlin from Celtic. He's a coach and development manager. And and his role will be to coach the coaches, but also to coach the players and set the philosophy throughout the academy, which Robbie will want, the sort of style of play that we want to play in. I'm personally, I've been delighted with what I've seen, and I think that we've got some coming through that if we develop them right, we could have future first team players that again, nobody wants to say they're a selling club, but
no, but I think that's where the reality comes. Is, you know, we've seen loads of players come through, and really the only person is Aaron Hickey that we've managed to get any dough for, and one of the probably the best performers that we've seen last year was Andy Irving, and he's left to go play Vida League in Germany. Do you know what I mean? That must be hugely disappointing for everybody at the football club. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think with Andy, to give Andy his credit, because we offered him 2 very good contracts, guys, I can promise you that. We felt it was very, very good contract offers, but in the conversation I had with Andy and his agents and even his dad, they wanted to go abroad, and Andy wanted to go to Germany. He'd always said that was his. I think he had interest from England, but he didn't want to go to England, and he chose the German club. I'm not going to say the name because it's difficult to say it.
No, that's why I never said it.
So, but again, that goes to show what is getting sort of produced in here, that a German club's taking notice of him and deciding that they want to sign him, that there is talent in this academy. We just need to make sure that we get them in. And I think what has to be mentioned as well is COVID killed that for them. COVID killed a year of their development and a year of football. That there isn't a reserve league, for example. Now, we're campaigning for a reserve league, but it doesn't look like there's going to be a reserve league. So the jump from under 18s to first team, it's massive. It's huge. So we need to make sure that we bridge that gap, and we'll probably create our own sort of B team in-house that will play games, and we'll send a lot of them out on loan to get the experience of the men's game and to develop physically and mentally at these games where I played at that level, that win bonuses and things like that are massive. That helps pay for the guy's mortgage, or sometimes it would help pay for a new boiler if it broke down. So being in that environment will help. It'll toughen our lads up. They'll realise what proper football's like at the levels.
And I've played in the German Vida League, so...
How'd you go on?
Well, here I am.
Not so successful.
So, we'll end it on this, because, again, thank you for giving us your time. We really appreciate it. What's your vision? What's your long-term vision for the football club? Where do you see it? How would you, if you were to sit down and say, this is the dream come true, what does that look like for Joe Savage?
Oh, good question. Probably players in the academy coming into the first team, playing 70, 80 games, getting developed, getting capped with Scotland, getting sold for millions of pounds, winning cups, try to split the old firm, try to compete with the old firm, try to get close to them, try to be the noisy neighbour for Edinburgh, and then try to win the league. Again, that's highly ambitious. It's people out there will be sitting thinking, "Oh, I no bother, Joe, all the best, son."
No, but
that's what.
Not enough people say that in Scotland. What does it matter if we don't? No one's won it for 40 years.
Speak to my mum and dad. My mum used to say to me, "Joseph, dream big, son. Yeah. That's all you can do. Dream big, and what will happen, and that's what I do."
Cool. Well, again, thank you so much for talking to us, man.
No, you're more than welcome. Thanks for having me on, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cool. Right, so not only were we at home in front of fans for the first time, it was actually the first time since we started podcasting that a selection of us actually got to go to a Hearts game together.
It was.
Which was fun, wasn't it? It was a good laugh with tiny arms before it, acting like actual normal fans. Tam getting chased for constantly going for a piss or going outside, and the bouncer had to batter him for being the annoying ride that we have to deal with. And then getting to watch the game. So
Chris Sutton also nearly battered me.
Yeah, he did, because you tried to take a picture of him in the toilet. Yeah, absolute creep.
Not in the toilet, on the street.
It was good. Again, to be honest with you, I was impressed with Hearts pretty much throughout. I thought my highlight, I will go around the table for everybody, but my highlight was Finlay Pollock. I thought he played brilliant, and I liked the fact that Hearts literally gave him the ball every single time we had it. They made him play, they made him get on it, they made him chase. Like me and Brad were talking, like you heard the shouts, you heard them one minute he was to track runners and run back, next minute he was to press up high and get the ball back and carry the ball. It was good to see like the sort of more senior players almost put an arm around him and be like, look, because some young boys come on and hide. It's just a natural thing. Like, you're intimidated, you don't want to do it. But literally, the wee guy was burst after about 60 minutes when he walked off because he'd never stopped running and never stopped getting the ball. And again, since you mentioned him, Chris Sutton, what an absolute wank. Did you see him on the highlights after it, trying to slaughter him for no scoring?
Really? No, I never.
Aye.
Said he should have been scoring that or cutting it to
Aye.
GMS or whatever.
Aye, but I thought he was... Exactly. Well said. I was impressed. I was very impressed with Pollock, and I think credit to that goes to Andy Halliday as well. I thought Andy Halliday was the best player on the park on Tuesday. Kept the ball ticking over. We wouldn't be a Hearts podcast without talking about it. We do start games slowly. Again, that's a combination of this take a touch and pass it when a first time pass could be done. But when we got out of that rhythm and we started to, like Brad had alluded to earlier with Cochrane, once we started to stretch the play, once we started to get the sort of like the wing backs engaged wide, we played quite well. So I was pretty impressed with Hearts throughout. Brad, what was your thoughts?
Where was that Andy Halliday? Where's he been? That was class. Honestly, getting stuck in, diving into challenges. I know he's got that potential. I just feel like it's been missing for ages, and that was brilliant. For me, he really stood out. And GMS, I said at the game, I'll quite happily hold my hand up and make a big apology if he plays like that for the rest of the season, because he was good. He was actually good.
You did tell me that at half time. You're like, we're going to have to make space in the pod for me to do a proper Boise style apology.
Because it was different gravy. He just looked switched on. I think having that top three makes a massive difference. Allowing him just to stay up there and not have to do this recovery on the wing that he was doing in that 4-2-3-1. He doesn't have to do that, so he can stay high, do what he wants to do, be tricky, be runny, stay close to Boise. Fine, that suits him perfectly. And if that's the way it's going to be, great. I'm more than happy to watch that. I actually thought the game was really good. Really enjoyed it. I think my
You've changed your tune.
Well, this is the thing. My tweet, I said the football was bang average. I think folk thought we were playing Barcelona or Real Madrid there. Played Cove, they were pish. They did it right. It wasn't an electric football. The football was bang average to watch. That is exactly what I should have expected a Hearts team to do to a Cove Rangers team that's been back for 2 weeks.
And to be honest, Brads, I prefer this Brads. This is the Brads I can get on board with. This is the one I want. You're right, Cove Rangers are shite, and Hearts done what you'd expect Hearts to do. Exactly. I was going to laugh there and say, it's mental we've been slaughtering Andy Halliday for podcasting once a week. Now he's podcasting 5 times a week at the Euros. He's brilliant. So he needs to do more podcasts now. That's going to be my campaign. He needs to podcast at least 3 or 4 times a week because he's been dino. Ando, what was your thoughts on the game?
I don't want to go over all ground because you've said quite a lot already. But for me, Boise.
Yeah, you love him.
But I do love him, right? And I'm almost questioning myself. Like, if you go back and listen to the early episodes, if you're a new time listener, right, and how much of an arsehole I was for berating the lad for not being able to see it, then he was everywhere on Tuesday. He was leaving the boot in, he was getting stuck in. Then some of his wee flicks like his wee sort of wee flick behind him that put I think it was Finlay Pollock in down the right wing in the second half. Second half. It was absolutely brilliant. And you know what? I reckon he's going to be the special sauce for us this season. I'm absolutely convinced. I love him.
Anybody who's at Hearts and listening, especially the audio guy, can you check about the 85th minute for us? Because I'm sure there's a shout calling him a wanker for passing the ball because you had a brace on or something like that.
Yes, I did. There was a Sky Bet Super Boost. It was 92 for Liam Boyce to score a brace. So I stuck 15 quid on it. And I was the only when he missed the shot, and like it would be probably 89 minutes, whenever it was. I stood up and I went absolutely daft. Everybody around me going, "What's the matter with this boy?" I was like, it's because Boyce never scored the brace to get my bet over the line. But you know what? I'll forgive him. I don't care. It's just money at the end of the day. Fuck it.
Tam, what was your review of the toilets? What did you think? Did you stick to the same cubicle every time, or did you mix it up? Did you go 4-2-1 and go this one outside one into 2 into 3? How did you do it? What was your
Tell
review
what
of
was
the
class.
facilities?
I'm just going to put it out there. Tynecastle has hot water now. Oh my god! Like, I know we're living in COVID times and that, but for a football stadium to have hot water, I was buzzing. I was like, I can actually wash my hands and be like
Did you go
properly
for a bath or something?
Jesus Christ.
Mate,
Welcome.
I get baths through here, so might as well. Eh?
Welcome to Tam's TripAdvisor. Sick, man.
Get
Right,
that
you know what?
Skyline Lounge review.
This is going to be a new feature for the coming season because we're going to be back into the stadiums watching games. We will put a sweepstake on for cash money on how many times Tam has to visit the bog for a pish from the minute he walks through the front door to the minute he leaves.
Let's say what other stadiums have got hot water, and let's see let's just see, let's see if we've just caught Tam out for never washing his hands.
Surely that catches me out for actually washing my hands if I know it's hot water.
No, but I mean, because you didn't used to wash your hands
Oh, I
before.
used to. Aye,
Right,
probably right there, to be fair.
Yeah.
He's only doing it for COVID.
Kev, Shanks, did you manage to catch any of the game?
I seen the last 10 minutes. Caught the goals from the Hearts TV bit, but other than that, yeah, didn't catch much. Unfortunately, working late on Tuesday night.
Shanks, what about you?
Same script. Halliday's goal seemed like a belter though.
I want actual minutes. When did you start watching the game?
I've not seen the game.
All right. How many minutes of the Scotland games did you miss in the summer?
All of them. I was bluted.
So there you go. There's an insight into the podcast, what's happened over the summer. Shanks replaced himself with this organised, never missed a date, never missed a game, Mr. Knowledge for Scotland, and here he is back questioning me about 500 fans at a game I wasn't even talking about, and he couldn't even tell you who scored the third goal for Hearts on Tuesday. Go. Who scored it?
Some boy for Spartans, I can.
City Rollers left back.
Must have been Boise because Scotty's talking about special sauce. I've got that written down.
Unlucky, Shanks. It was a good attempt. It was not. But I think that's formation in it. This sort of 3-4-3, 3-5-2, whatever it is they're trying to call it. It is definitely the formation that I think gets our best players in their best position. It just kind of suits us as well, which was good. And again, we got to see John Souttar play in a Hearts jersey live, and that never gets boring.
No.
Oh, actually, forgot because we're team handsome. Craig Gordon broke the record for the most clean sheets ever. So fair play to the big man. He must hold quite a few records or club records at Hearts actual, because he's highest transfer fee. He's now the most capped player. He's also
most
went the
handsome.
longest, most handsome. Went the longest with a goal. What a man! Making him captain was the right choice. What are you gonna say, Kev?
I was going to say I'd be interested to see how that particular poll would go with Mr. Peter Haring.
Yeah, that's true, but he just has to pick the wings.
Okay.
My missus totally fancies Craig Gordon, and I'm absolutely fine with it. Beaten by a better man, not a problem here.
You just have to move on. Oh, that was a good thing actually, but as we spoke about that, wasn't it? It was good to hear just how vocal Craig Gordon is. He was constantly shouting, constantly moving people around, and getting folk to go where they needed to go, which was quite good to see.
It was good, and obviously you touched on it earlier, and Halliday took a big role in there. He obviously has taken over for Nazy in terms of being that senior pro that shouts at everybody and pushing people into positions, which was great to see. Obviously you don't usually hear that, so it was good hearing all the shouts in the chat, and I really enjoyed that.
I was still laughing at the other day when he did that football player squealer going, yes! And then ran down and was like, bounce it off me! And everybody was like, even the players were like, what does that mean? what does that got to do with anything, man? It was a throw-in or something. Oh, the other highlight today was, remember Mikey Smith just ripped his tape off, walked up to the main stand and fucked it off somebody.
Flicked it in some lassie's face. I think it was the makeup lassie for Premier Sports. Aye.
He literally just, for no reason at all, just took some tape off, walked up, something like that, chucked it into the crowd, and then just kept playing. I was like, class. Actual class. Who have we got next? Stirling Albion, innit?
Aye, Tuesday
Tuesday night. we play Sunderland in the Vida League friendly or something on Saturday, but Robbie has already sort of hinted that it'll be second stringers pretty much. Which brings us on, actually, we didn't talk about it in the headlines, but Demur's featured in a few of the matches. Does anybody have an opinion on it? Is it literally we're just putting him in the window to get someone, pleading with somebody to come and take him off our hands, or do we reckon he'll feature at any point in the season?
I'll say that. Sorry, Tam, on you go.
I was going to say I'd give him a chance. If he's probably one of the higher earners in the club, you shouldn't just be paying him to sit in his arse wherever he was sitting and doing nothing. So rather
should we be rewarding him for refusing to play in the Vida League? Because let's not kid on, he never kicked a single ball last year.
No,
that was.
If we had the cash to rip up his contract and chuck him out, we would have, I imagine. But we're probably not able to do that. So if he's going to sit there, you might as well make use of him, I'm afraid.
I think it tells you everything you need to know about where the club is. That who did we bring on? We brought Denham, Connor Smith. We brought in another young boy.
Henderson on.
And Demure never came on. We're 3-0 up at home to Cove Rangers or whatever, we didn't bring him on. I don't think he has a future at the football club. Going from what Joe Savage says about who he wants to play and how he wants them to feel when they play for Hearts, I think it's a get him in the shop window thing and try and get somebody to take her off our hands. Shanks, any opinion? Oh, sorry, Ando, you can go to Shanks and I'll come to you. Any opinion on Demure?
I think we've got enough players in that position that are kind of coming through that I'm not really interested in giving him any game time. So I also don't think we're going to get much for him. I'd quite happily see him go on a free, to be honest.
I think he's all right. We're not going to recoup the money that we've wasted anyway, so I can't see him bringing in big money. Ando, what were you going to say?
Well, summer sunshine, Ando would tell you. Let's let bygones be bygones. Give him a chance, and you know what? He might have turned over a new leaf, and it might be brilliant. But now that the season started, I'm back to being my old, bitter, twisted self. I would say hang him out to dry. Let him rot for the rest of his contract. As far as I'm concerned, fuck him. That's my opinion.
It does feel like, speaking to Joe Savage, that the sort of mindset of how the club operates will change now. I don't think, touchwood, that we'll be seeing the 4-year deals to guys like Demure and Mallory Martin and all that sort of stuff anymore. No. That brings me on to a point, actually, that I'd seen on Twitter, and I can't remember who said it. It might have been John Cowan, actually. I'm sorry if that's wrong, but he said about, Finlay Pollock doesn't look out of place in the first team. Now's the time to start talking to him about contracts. Get him on a deal that saves him from walking out the club for nothing in a year's time, similar to Andy Irving and every other youth player that we've had. And I thought, actually, that's a valid point. If you get him in now and he's played 2 or 3 games, you could probably offer him lower money than wait until the end of the season if he has a stormer. And then he's like, no, sorry, I actually want more money. So yeah, that was a good shout. That was something I quite liked as well. Cool. First game of the season, was it 31st of July, is it? Saturday, or is it Friday night?
It's late on a Saturday. It's like 8 PM on a Saturday or something.
It's prime time Saturday night. 8 PM.
Aye. So again, it's one of those things. It's a difficult opening. It's a difficult opening sort of sequence of fixtures. But I suppose, would you take a defeat, but as long as we played well, or do you think we're at a stage with Robbie that he has to gather results rather than performances?
Sorry, mate.
Oh, no, you go.
I got a feeling he's going to go straight back to that 4-2-3-1 as a panic default mode against Celtic. But I'd much rather they went out aggressive, they went out all guns blazing. If it means they get beat, but at least you're setting a precedent for this is how we're going to play this year. We're going to come attacking, we're going to come firing all year. It doesn't matter who you are. We're not scared if it's Celtic, if it's Aberdeen, if it's Kelly. In fact, Kelly are gone. Bye, Kelly. If it's St Johnstone, we don't care who the opposition is. We're playing our game. We're coming attacking. This is how we're going to play. I'd be quite happy for that.
Yeah,
that gave me a semi.
We've got two competitive games between now and then. Now, again, it's lower league opposition, but you look at the amount of minutes since we last conceded a goal, right? That's going to give the team a bit of a swagger. If we can keep a clean sheet in the next two games, which I assume we will, I reckon, to your point, Brad, just go out there, muscle flex. It's Tynecastle. Remember what happened in December 2018 or whenever it was. Play them right toe to toe, high press, and just get them to fuck. Because Celtic are going through a period of transition just now, aren't they? They've got a new manager. God knows what can happen. It's not the old Celtic that we're used to. I reckon they're there for the taking. Even now, the game's only 2 weeks away. Having not seen them at all, I'm confident we can get a home win there.
Well, I think that's the thing as well. Is like momentum's massive in football, and from my worry, and I said this the other day, was when I was at 2 o'clock before the Peterhead game, sitting thinking to myself, please don't ping that team sheet and see Cheesy and Brandon and just like a total meh team for the sake of it, because I'm like, that totally underestimates the mood amongst the fans, because that mood's not changed yet. It will change if we continue to play in a exciting manner or whatever, but it's results, and you know what Hearts are like. We're always one result, dropped points or a defeat away from all those feelings come back. So I think it was a pure statement of intent from Hearts on Saturday against Peterhead, when it was like literally as close to full strength as we could have, and then again on the Tuesday against Cove Rangers it was pretty much full strength. And like we've touched on there, the fact that Robbie's saying that it'll be a second string versus Sunderland because the Stirling Albion game is the more important game, I think it's a good sign for us, because when you think back to us doing the live podding along to us playing Rafe Rovers or Cali Thistle or whoever it was we played in the League Cup, whoever we played in the League Cup last year, some of those performances were pretty dire. Do you know what I mean? We got the job done, but they weren't full of amount of confidence. So that was cool. Right, anything else anybody wanted to talk about? Anything that you've enjoyed so far of the close season or the season? Any thoughts on the season coming up?
No, we've covered it all, but this is probably for me personally, one of the most positive pre-seasons I think I've had in a wee while. It's probably everything combined to the fact that we're getting back into the grounds, we've had a run of good results, things are looking good, apart from the third jersey, which is shit. But apart from that, I'm back to being a thumbs up Hearts fan.
But you look good in it, Shanks. I'll give you that. You're pulling it off. You're absolutely pulling it off.
So
Triple XL looks good.
His chebs are below the level of the camera. Otherwise, there'd be a healthy shadow underneath them.
Cool. Well, if you've made it this far, just want to say a big, massive thanks to Hearts for letting us have access to Joe Savage, and a massive thanks to Kat, who helped arrange it all. She's been an absolute star for us. She helped us with the Leave It on the Stand campaign. She's been helping us with the Zal flag and the Zal sort of tributes and all that sort of stuff, helping us get in contact with his family and making sure that we're doing the right things in terms of honouring him and making sure that we've got his family on board and all that. And then again, she listens to the podcast, and you know, we reached out and asked would we be able to get some access to Joe. You know, she was absolutely straight away like, yep, I'll make it happen, and she was an absolute diamond Tuesday as well. So a massive thanks to Kat for helping us. This season, as we said there, we're going to be doing live reactions. We'll be doing live podcasts. Now that we've been to Tynecastle, we've set up, we've kind of got a rough idea as to what we're doing. Look out on the social medias for things like we are going to podcast from the fan bar. We're going to try and podcast in and around Gorgie. We want guys that listen to get involved. So keep looking out on the socials, keep listening. We'll let you know when we have any information, and again, when we have something arranged with MND Scotland, should be hopefully towards the end of the month. You guys will be the first people to know, because obviously it's a donation in Zal's honour, but it's from you guys, it's your money, it's you guys that got behind the flag and all that sort of stuff, so we owe you a massive thank you, and we want you to be a part of it as well. So from everybody on the podcast, thanks. Gorgaro, look forward to the new season.
Here.
He's never going to say bye now.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
You normally do it. Cheerio.
He's never going to say bye now.
Bye.
No, That's it.
Right. See you all later. Gotta get
See you
out.
later, mate.